And rather than addressing that, she killed him.
Gunned down in cold blood, targeted for murder. Next. In the Big Easy, fans expect their newscasters to report the news, not to make it.
This lady's laying here, bleeding from her head all over the place.
Liz Marinello was shot in a parking lot after leaving her therapist's office. Police on the scene believed at the time that it was a robbery.
It was quite devastating to us. It really shocked the community, scared the community.
In a city that knows death and disaster, you can only be sure that today's bad news is going to be tomorrow's unbelievable headline. New Orleans is founded in 1718 by French colonists and becomes part of the United States in the Louisiana Purchase of 1803. It lies along the Mississippi River and is the most populated city in Louisiana. New Orleans' history of colonial rule brings numerous cultures and traditions into one space. Voodoo is synonymous with New Orleans, created by enslaved West Africans who merged their religious practices with local Catholicism. Nicknamed the Big Easy, New Orleans is known for a slower, simpler, and easygoing vibe. Thursday, August 31st, 2006. A sultry day in Metairie, Louisiana, a suburb right next door to the Big Easy. Mary Elizabeth Liz Marinello attends a regular counseling session.
She was visiting a therapist in Metairie, a well-traveled, well-populated area, just right outside of New Orleans, literally about 2 minutes from New Orleans.
She had sought counseling, and there was a counselor that she went to see at the Metairie Towers on Metairie Road. And on August 31st, 2006, she walked out of the building, and a scruffy man came up and fired 2 shots directly into her face.
She is shot point blank, only steps from her car. Liz falls to the cement and lies in a pool of her own blood.
The scene of where Elizabeth was shot was in the parking lot of an office building. The gunshots alerted several people who came over. The police were called immediately. Everybody was there quite quickly.
Parish, number 158, may I help you? Ma'am, I'm on Metairie Road behind Metairie Towers in the parking lot. This lady's laying here, bleeding from her head all over the place. It looks like she's been shot on the side of her head. Okay, we'll get someone over there, okay? Oh, Jesus.
Liz is alive. As they await the paramedics, police talk to terrified witnesses to identify the shooter.
Perpetrator was sort of a scraggly man who rode away on a bicycle. He'd been panhandling in the neighborhood.
People report seeing a tall, thin man in a long-sleeved shirt, wearing a beard and mustache, who has the appearance of a vagrant.
This is a time in New Orleans when crime is way up, and to police, this looks like just another robbery gone wrong. But there's just one problem with that story.
There was nothing missing. There was nothing missing from her purse, nothing missing from her truck.
Investigators at the scene find 2 cartridge cases that belong to a .38 caliber firearm.
This could be a failed robbery attempt, or worse, an unmotivated attack of extreme violence. The ID in her wallet tells police her name, and that last name, Marinello, has a familiar ring to it. Mary Elizabeth Marinello, known as Liz, is a 45-year-old mother of a 10-year-old daughter and is recently divorced.
She was from Mississippi. She moved here. She met her first husband. She got divorced from him.
A healthcare professional, Liz is a vibrant woman who loves movies and attends plays.
She worked at Children's Hospital as a respiratory therapist, and all her patients had nothing but fantastic things to say about her.
Liz recently is in the public spotlight. 2 years earlier, she meets famous New Orleans sportscaster Vince Marinello.
They started dating in 2004, where they met at a charity event at a local bar and music venue, the Rock and Bowl.
The bowling alley and dance hall is a popular spot in New Orleans for Zydeco music.
One night in January 2004, they were having some Elvis impersonators. And when Vince Marinello saw Liz from across the room, he was smitten. And he asked her to dance. And after that, I think it was the next day or 2 days later, he sent her flowers. Their courtship was kind of awkward because he was 66 years old and she was 41. And she recognized that age difference. When he sent her flowers on Valentine's Day of 2004 and asked her on a date, she decided she would go.
Even though Vince is over 20 years her senior and known for his toupee, he has a flamboyant style and an undeniable confidence. He dazzles her by telling her about his fortune, law degree, and even hints at fascinating connections, including television personalities, police, and even the mafia. A whirlwind courtship results in marriage only 6 months later, on October 23rd, 2004.
So Vince was a well-known, well-respected, and well-liked newscaster here in the New Orleans area. He had an emphasis on sports, was very knowledgeable, and really knew everyone in town, especially connected to the sports community.
And he gains even more public respect when disaster hits. August 29, 2005, Hurricane Katrina hits New Orleans. The hurricane's 19-foot storm surge breaches the city's levees. When New Orleans floods, Vince Marinello stays on the air, giving life-saving updates and reassuring residents as they call in, and giving words of comfort to the dislocated.
He actually got on the air and was broadcasting to people, kind of saved some people's lives while he did that.
He was one of the people that stayed behind and reported on the aftermath of Katrina and just the horrible effects on everything. And I think that took a toll on him, as it did everyone who remained in New Orleans at that time.
This May-December romance is a second chance for both Vince and Liz, and they're a dream couple, beloved by friends and admirers. And now that dream is crushed. Liz struggles for her life while a shooter is on the loose.
You know, overall, the community, I think, was initially shocked by this incident. Just a shooting that took place along a very nice stretch of suburban Metairie, sort of a well-to-do neighborhood where there's not a lot of crime.
It's hours later when police track down the victim's husband.
This was actually in Jackson, Mississippi, which is a couple of hours outside of New Orleans. He was with some friends watching the Saints game.
Police inform Vince Marinello that his wife is in hospital, fighting for her life. And then, investigators have a breakthrough.
The office building where Elizabeth was shot had surveillance cameras, where they captured the person they believe was the perpetrator on surveillance cameras, pacing around and doing like a lot of people, folding his arms.
The surveillance video shows a man fitting the description of a vagrant lurking in the parking lot 30 minutes before Liz arrives. Immediately before she leaves the building, though, the perpetrator moves to an area where Liz was shot.
Video and witness descriptions point police to a prime suspect, a man that has been spotted in the area that fits the description.
There was one individual who lived in a neighborhood near where Elizabeth was shot. He'd been panhandling in the building in which Elizabeth had visited, and he had gone to the church directly across the street and spoken to the church secretary about getting some handouts. We looked into the gentleman's background. He was a heroin addict who is currently at large.
Police must find this man fast. He's armed and could kill again.
Witnesses describe seeing a man putting a bicycle into the trunk of a white Ford Taurus.
Investigators search the vehicle and find a box of 9mm cartridges in the glove compartment.
If there's a reason to kill somebody, hurting your child might be one.
There has never been a better time to join AARP. This special offer gives you exclusive access to hundreds of AARP discounts, programs, and services that will add real value to your life. As a member, you can get discounts on glasses and eye exams, save on prescription drugs not covered by Medicare, but you can also save on travel, hotels, restaurants, concert tickets, and so much more.
I didn't know that.
AARP helps members access exclusive benefits like Medicare supplement insurance, even auto insurance.
We can use that.
AARP offers financial tips, career resources, and tools that may help you avoid identity theft and scammers.
That's good to know.
Pick up the phone now to join AARP. 1 year for just $12. That's 25% off the regular membership price. You'll even get a second membership included free. And you'll receive AARP the magazine filled with information and articles important to you. Plus, you'll get hundreds of benefits and an additional free gift if you call now.
And you don't have to be retired to join AARP. You can join at 50 for instant access to many member benefits. For 60 years, AARP has fought to protect your Social Security, Medicare, and more.
That sounds good to me.
Now you know how AARP helps people like us take on today. So don't miss your chance to join now.
Call or go online now to take advantage of this special offer. 1 year for just $12. That's a savings of 25% off the regular membership price. And you'll get a second AARP membership for anyone in your home free. And get a full year subscription to AARP the magazine filled with information and articles important to you. Plus, you get the AARP mobile app that connects you to local events and activities near you. And as a free gift, we'll include this insulated trunk organizer. So don't miss this chance to save 25% and get 1 year for just $12.
Call 800-400-9312.
Litter Robot has now solved the litter box problem for over 1 million pet parents around the world. Hi, I'm Brad Baxter, founder of Whisker and Litter Robot. You'll never scoop again, and your cat will always have a clean bed of litter. Try Litter Robot today.
My friends call me Zam. I naturally hold a lot of stress in my digestive system, as a lot of women do. When I started taking DSO-1, I immediately noticed how much lighter I felt, vibrant, alive. It really helps me stay regular, and you're not bloated at all. I honestly recommend DSO-1 to everyone.
Visit Seed.com to start DSO-1 today.
Looking for a way to stretch the dollar? With Insurify, you can cut your car insurance bill in half. Scroll through dozens of prices and tap to switch online. That's it. No phone calls and no wasted time. Go to Insurify and save today.
Ready to party? I'm talking about Jackpot Party, the leading free-to-play mobile slots game that always gives you more. Download Jackpot Party for free and get a 45 million coin bonus. Jackpot Party, a party in every spin.
Did you know that old-fashioned laundry detergent can contain up to 80% water? We at EarthBreeze created our dissolvable laundry detergent because we already have water. We even have a money-back guarantee. It's time to switch to EarthBreeze at earthbreeze.com.
Dogs are expensive. My number one pet parent hack, Spot Pet Insurance.
Spot made it so painless and easy for me. They reimbursed me $2,700.
I'm here to tell you, consider getting pet insurance.
What's up, guys? I'm Scott Disick, and welcome to my home. Meet Hotel Collection Studio Centrifuger. I recently started using their centrifuger here in my Hidden Hills home, and this is a must-have product. Their hotel-inspired scents make my place always smell like a luxury 5-star hotel. I don't know about you, but having a home that smells this good is priceless. Check out hotelcollection.com to make sure your house is always smelling good too.
Before I found Poppy Lush, I would try on a million outfits to get ready. I love that these dresses have shapewear built in. I had a baby last year, and my body changed. When I put on Poppy Lush, I just feel like me. No matter what size I am, no matter where I am in life, I put on Poppy Lush, and I know I'm gonna feel lush. Live lush. Poppy Lush.
When you get approved with Drive Time, you get the real deal.
It's the Drive Time Real Deal Maker.
Lets you customize the real down payment and monthly payment of the car you want to buy.
That's super smart. And the deal you make on your phone is the deal you pay. You make the deal yourself.
Get the real deal at drivetime.com.
Liz Marinello is known as half of a New Orleans celebrity couple, the recent wife of a famous and beloved sports newscaster. She's shot twice in the face by a disheveled gunman as she leaves a therapy session, and the suspect escapes on a bicycle. As Liz fights for her life, police match the description to a well-known area panhandler and go on the hunt for the suspected shooter. The man is wanted by police.
He had several open attachments for missing cord. Of importance is the fact that the perpetrator who shot Elizabeth rode away on a bicycle. This gentleman had several bicycles in his backyard.
Police converge on the suspect and arrest him. On Friday, September 1st, 2006, in the early hours after her attack, Mary Elizabeth Marinello succumbs to her injuries.
She passed away at the hospital around 2 o'clock in the morning.
The case is now one of cold-blooded murder. The suspect, who has been apprehended by police, is interrogated. Not only does he match the description of the perpetrator, he owns several bicycles, which are seized by police for forensic testing.
The police anxiously await the results, but after a thorough forensic examination learned that there is nothing to link the vagrant and his bicycles to the murder of Liz Marinello.
In the meantime, the widower, Vince Marinello, makes an appearance at police headquarters with his lawyer to make a statement about his whereabouts at the time of the murder.
For the record, could you state your full name? It's Vincent J. Marinello, and you agreed prior to this interview to come down and participate in an interview regarding the shooting death of your wife, Elizabeth Marinello. Is that correct? Ex-wife. Ex-wife. Okay. Aside from the terminology ex-wife, you were explaining. Yes, that's correct.
Interestingly, police learn it is very recently that Liz and Vince have become estranged.
Vince, when were you notified of Elizabeth's death? Last night, August the 31st, about 10:15, 10:20. At the time, were you aware that she was dead or just shot? I was not aware at all. After you received that information, what did you do? I think I was in shock. I don't know what I did. I guess if you want to describe me, I was in stunned disbelief.
Liz is no stranger to marital problems.
Elizabeth had been married before Vince, and she was in the middle of a very contentious custody battle with a minor child. He had accused Elizabeth of abusing the child, which is, if there's a reason to kill somebody, hurting your child might be one.
And there are more hints of abuse by Liz.
There was an incident where Marinello claimed that Liz attacked him and scratched him. There was a police report in the Harahan Police Department of abuse.
Police learned that because of alleged abuse by Liz against her daughter, her ex-husband files a petition to reopen custody matters. But Liz and her lawyers are no-shows.
Police turned their line of questioning back to Vince.
Do you have any idea who shot Elizabeth? No, I don't. Did you shoot her? No, I didn't. Do you own a firearm?
A 9mm would not match the .38 caliber shell casings found at the scene of the murder. Police want to hear from Liz's ex-husband. He claims that their divorce is amicable and believes the incidents of abuse Vince refers to are more inappropriate moments than dangerous behavior on Liz's part. Police want to know if Liz's ex-husband owns a gun. He states that he does not. Now that the vagrant has been discounted, investigators again review all possible clues.
Witnesses describe seeing a man putting a bicycle into the trunk of a white Ford Taurus, but police are unsure whether this incident is related to the shooting.
Investigators check on Vince's alibi for the time of the murder, and it turns out Vince has a standing date to watch sports with a friend.
He watched every game that was on TV. If he wasn't there in person, he was certainly watching on TV. He has some close friends in Mississippi. He went to stay with them. He was living in a trailer. He didn't really have a TV at home.
The time it would take Vince to drive to his friend's home would make him a very unlikely suspect. However, something isn't adding up.
Forensically, the sheriff's office was able to determine that Ms. Marinello was killed by a .38 caliber bullet, which is one of the most common guns that are used. There are a dime a dozen, especially here in the South and especially in Louisiana.
Detectives investigating the case went to the gun shop and retrieved a receipt for that 9mm handgun. An employee at the gun store revealed to investigators that Vince had come in with a .38 caliber 5-shot revolver.
He remembers the encounter clearly because he recognizes Vince as his favorite sports broadcaster from television.
The employee tells detectives that he had inspected and test-fired that revolver that Vince had brought in.
The clerk shoots 5 rounds into a test tube, examines the cartridges, and informs Vince one of them has a dog bone fracture, or a stress fracture. The clerk scrubs and oils the gun for Vince.
Vince had been to a gun store at some point in 2004, which is not a crime. We're here in Louisiana. Louisiana is an open carry state. Right to own guns and possess guns are ingrained in our state constitution.
But there is more to the exchange. Officers are surprised when the clerk hurries out to the parking lot to have a private word with them.
The employee asked the detectives, "Are you looking for some information on 158 grain nightclad ammunition?" Police want to know why a gun shop clerk correctly guesses the type of ammunition that killed Liz Marinello.
Watch this. It's all 100% real. Witness what happens to this woman's bags under her eyes in an actual time lapse in just minutes. Nothing has been doctored or tampered with. The very real problem will disappear before your eyes and hers with a revolutionary topical formulation that works in just minutes, and the effects will last for hours and hours. Over 1 million people are using this topical technique to visually reduce puffiness and bags. It works on sagging jowls, even fine lines and wrinkles on the face and forehead. Introducing Plexiderm. In just minutes, you can restore and beautify your face, even look years younger. And the look will last all day or all evening.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I'm just in love with the mirror right now.
Jump on board and say yes to this amazing $14.95 Prove It Plexiderm trial. You'll see why our customers describe Plexiderm with 3 words. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Order right now. We'll pay your shipping. Operators are standing by.
Hey, what's up? It's the People Star here, Damon John. Now, I'm going to give you a tip. This one is about how to create the wow factor in your home. And nearly everybody that comes to my home comments about how amazing it smells. My family and I feel like we live in a luxurious hotel every day. I mean, think about it. It's been over 2 years, and still, the first thing anyone notices when they walk through the doors of our home is how amazing it smells.
Are you over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days? I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. Call now for this free book on maximizing your income in retirement. Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers from one of the nation's leading financial firms. That's right, free. This book reveals little-known truths about annuities in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now, because we're about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known truths we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity, and it's free. Call 800-256-7497. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report. We researched numerous products and summarized rates and benefits of annuities, all from Silac Insurance Company. Call 800-256-7497. That's 800-256-7497. Call now.
Guys, it's like Dave was made for me. No drama, no games.
Who? Oh, I know Dave.
The best?
Let me see a pic. A banking app?
The banking app for everyday people.
Dave gives you what those other guys don't. There's no overdrafts or late fees. You could get extra cash when you need it. Okay. I'm with it.
I think I found the one.
There's an easier way to bank and get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less when you download Dave.
The dentist will be right in.
Hey, I heard you're retiring soon. You excited?
Yeah, Doc, but there's so much to consider. Medicare, finances. Oh, and I lose my dental insurance.
You can get your own from Physicians Mutual. Easiest decision ever. It's real dental insurance that's real affordable. Well, I think my work here is done.
Wait, what?
Hey, I heard you're retiring soon. You excited?
Affordable dental insurance from Physicians Mutual Insurance Company. One of the easiest retirement decisions you can make. For a free information kit, call now. This dental insurance helps cover over 400 procedures. Everything from cleanings and fillings to crowns and dentures. See any dentist you want with no deductibles and no annual maximum.
Well, I think my work here is done.
Wait, what?
To get your free information kit with all the details, call now or visit sendinfokit.com.
Physicians Mutual, Physicians Mutual.
This is an important message for women who receive birth control injections or injections to alleviate pain from endometriosis. If you or a loved one received injections of the birth control Depo-Provera or Depo-Sub-Q Provera 104 and later suffered a brain tumor or died due to complications of a brain tumor, call the Victims Justice Group now. You may be entitled to significant money damages. A recent study revealed a significant risk, more than 5 times the increased risk of intracranial meningioma, which is a tumor that grows in the membranes that surround the brain. If you or a loved one received birth control injections of Depo-Provera or Depo-Sub-Q Provera 104, or received injections of Depo-Sub-Q Provera 104 to help alleviate pain from endometriosis, and were later diagnosed with a brain tumor or died due to complications of a brain tumor, call our helpline now. There are strict deadlines to file a claim. Don't delay. The Victims Justice Group is here to help you get the justice you deserve for your pain and suffering.
Call 1-800-893-6985. That's 1-800-893-6985.
Coming up next on True Crime Network.
Liz Marinello is shot point blank in the face by what appears to be a vagrant. Hours later, she succumbs to her injuries. Her recent marriage to famous New Orleans sportscaster Vince Marinello is going through a vicious annulment. When the prime suspect turns out to be a false lead, police dig deeper and get a big surprise from a staff member at a gun shop where Vince Marinello recently shops.
The employer revealed to investigators that Vince had purchased a box of 50 nylon-coated bullets. Vince had said he had wanted the best stuff available. These nylon-coated bullets, also known as KTW, were produced from 1960 to 1990. The bullet itself was either brass or steel. The coating on top of it was to protect the gun that it was being fired through from having the barrel eroded by the hard metal of the brass or the steel. It's not actually the nylon coating that allowed it to penetrate better, but it was actually the material that was used for the bullet portion. Because these bullets were very unique and they were found in the autopsy, then it gave investigators all the more reason to go and look further into where these bullets were purchased. Detectives, during their investigation, come to the realization that Elliott's gun store is the only store that sells that nylon-coated ammunition. If an individual has those nylon-coated bullets, and then there's nylon-coated fired bullets in an individual, well, naturally you would go ahead and be able to piece it together that it is possible that whoever purchased those nylon-coated bullets fired them into the victim.
The gun shop visit focuses authorities on a new prime suspect.
Hey, maybe we ought to start looking at the husband, because when you look sometimes at victimology, it's always somebody closest to the victim that commits the crime.
Elizabeth was visiting a therapist. One of the issues she was talking to the therapist about was her marital problems with Vince. They were not married for a long time, but they were having some difficulties. And I think that immediately makes detectives focus on a spouse.
And police find there is more to this famous sportscaster than the persona seen in the public eye.
Vince Marinello was raised in the 9th Ward, which has a specific dialect that they use. It's more like Brooklynese.
Marinello was Italian. At one point, the Italian community was quite prominent in the French Quarter.
And because he spoke with this type of dialect, it endeared him to the New Orleans people. He started every one of his programs with, "Hello, everybody." He was a pretty good sportscaster in his day. He was a character. He was a character.
He's famous for many years, but as he ages, he's moved to radio to make way for young up-and-comers in television. This is a demotion for Vince. But in August 2005, New Orleans is ravaged by Hurricane Katrina, which floods more than 80% of the city.
Post-Katrina, he was still working at WWL Radio. I think it was the only radio station that was still open at the time. And they were handing out news. They were telling people where they could get food, how to apply for FEMA relief, generally what was going on in particular areas. And he did a great job doing that.
Vince never leaves his post during the disaster.
He was also an announcer at the fairgrounds for horse racing. He was familiar with New Orleans sports, more than I think a lot of other announcers would be.
When Vince meets the much younger Liz, he is relentless in his pursuit of her.
When they first met and they started to fall in love, he told Liz, "Look, I got $3 million in bonds and they're getting ready to mature. And you know what? You don't have to work the rest of your life."
Liz is swept away.
They were married in October of 2004, but all the attention had to be on Marinello. He had a makeup artist that was at the wedding that was putting makeup on him. Every time it would crack or it would leak or something, he would have the makeup artist come up and put the makeup on him. He adored the woman, but it was more of an obsession than anything else.
The too hasty wedding sours rapidly.
Later on, there were notes found where he wrote notes to Liz, which were very abusive, like, you didn't compliment me on my shirt, you didn't compliment me on how I look today, and things of that nature. Liz realized that she was living a lie with this man.
But things become irreparable when Liz discovers that when she and Vince get married, Vince is still married to his first wife, Andrea.
She discovered that he had not moved all of his stuff to her house, and he was still living with his wife, Andrea, who had filed a lawsuit against him because he got money fraudulently using her name somehow. That was the straw that broke the camel's back.
In Louisiana, there's a procedure in which most divorces take place, in which the plaintiff obtains two judgments: a preliminary default judgment, which was obtained prior to Vince's marriage to Liz. But subsequent to that preliminary default judgment, a confirmation of that judgment has to take place, which makes the preliminary default judgment final. That had not taken place.
She filed for divorce with all the other lies that had been piled on top. She took a trip to New York, and she didn't tell him why she was going. She was actually going to meet Marinello's brother, Peter. And Peter told her, "Look, he doesn't have $3 million. The only money he gets is Social Security and the money from the radio station."
Even though Vince was successful, he was not successful at keeping his money.
Marinello also had a penchant for telling tall tales. He said he had links with the mafia. He had a law degree. He never went to college, so he never had a law degree, but he told people that's what he did. She was wondering, had he ever told her the truth?
As police investigate Vince Marinello more deeply, Something about his gestures strike a chord of recognition.
The office building where Elizabeth was shot had surveillance cameras where they captured a person they believe was a perpetrator on the surveillance cameras. The person is unrecognizable. Nobody could look at that tape and say that's Vince Marinello. Or could they say it's anyone else in particular? It just looked like a homeless fellow pacing around and doing like a lot of people, folding his arms.
But it is just these movements that make police look twice.
The district attorney's office had obtained some other surveillance footage of Vince Marinello.
While he was waiting to make his statement, a video camera happened to catch him walking in his mannerisms.
He was walking around with his arms folded.
It was the mannerisms that he exhibited that kind of caught the police's attention, and they made the connection that he may have been in a disguise and he may have committed the murder at that time.
Police wonder if Vince Marinello is actually the vagrant who shot and killed Liz. Police discover Vince has had a FEMA trailer, commonly given by the United States government as temporary housing, assigned to victims of natural disasters. Vince Marinello has had his FEMA unit since Hurricane Katrina hit.
They got a search warrant for his FEMA trailer.
When investigators arrive at the FEMA trailer, a clue from the initial crime scene comes into focus.
A witness had told investigators seeing a white Ford Taurus, a similar car, at the scene of the crime in which an individual was trying to put in a bike.
And Marinello's car reveals gunshot residue.
There's two types of gunshot residue when we're dealing with firearms. The first type is expelled through the front of the gun, through the muzzle of the gun. It's known as muzzle to target gunshot residue. The primer area is initially struck by the firing pin. When that primer is struck, it sends a spark into the powder to detonate the cartridge to fire the bullet down the gun. Well, that primer has certain materials in it that are shock sensitive, that are expelled on the rear portion of the gun. They're expelled not only onto the person's hand, but an environment in close proximity to where the individual was fired the gun. When they test for primer gunshot residue, there are three possible conclusions that you can come to if an area or a person is positive for gunshot residue. They are the person fired a gun, the person was in close proximity to another individual who fired a gun, or the person was in an environment where barium, antimony, and lead were present. It's very easy to cross-contaminate an area. If you had gone out shooting and you touched something, it's very easy to transfer it.
And his explanation was, well, I had fired the 9mm. Because when he went to the gun store to buy the bullets, I think he fired it a couple of times. That's the explanation that he gave, that he had fired the weapon before. And it got on his fingers or something, and he got it all over the car.
Investigators search the vehicle and find a box of 9mm cartridges in the glove compartment. They come to the realization that those cartridges are inconsistent with those used to kill Liz Marinello.
Officers enter with a warrant.
When they went to the FEMA trailer, they found the list, and the list was very interesting.
Vince, being in the media, took down a list and made notes for everything.
And this list, sitting out in plain sight, is much more interesting than police could ever have imagined.
Spot Pet insurance plans help pet parents focus on the moments that matter and worry less about unexpected vet bills. From puppyhood and beyond, Spot can cover up to 90% of eligible vet visits. Visit spotpet.com to get a free quote.
I naturally hold a lot of stress in my digestive system, as a lot of women do. When I started taking DSO-1, I immediately noticed how much lighter I felt, vibrant, alive. It really helps me stay regular, and you're not bloated at all. I honestly recommend DSO-1 to everyone.
Visit Scene.com to start DSO-1 today.
Looking for a way to stretch the dollar? With Insurify, you can cut your car insurance bill in half. Scroll through dozens of prices and tap to switch online. That's it. No phone calls and no wasted time. Go to Insurify and save today.
We've all done the smell check. Trust me, I'm good. Claire V targets vaginal odor at the source. Claire V, long-term relief from vaginal odor, itching, and discharge. Try it at clairev.com.
Calm. Download the free app now.
Do you have difficulty hearing your TV? Or have trouble hearing conversations? Then you would benefit from Nano hearing aids. Other hearing aids are expensive and cost thousands of dollars. But if you call now, you can get 2 Nano CIC rechargeable hearing aids for only $297. Don't be fooled by overpriced hearing aids ever again. The Nano CIC rechargeable hearing aid is a true hearing aid, not an amplifier. And they offer superior noise reduction and a tiny in-the-ear design that is nearly invisible. And best of all, they are incredibly affordable. Call now and get 2 Nano CIC rechargeable hearing aids for only $297, or opt into our payment plan of 4 easy interest-free payments. Plus, if you call now, we'll add a portable charging dock, and your shipping is absolutely free. The Nano hearing aids come with outstanding lifetime customer support and a 45-day money-back guarantee. Supplies are limited, so you must act now.
Call 1-800-380-4408. That's 1-800-380-4408.
Litter Robot has now solved the litter box problem for over 1 million pet parents around the world. Hi, I'm Brad Baxter, founder of Whisker and Litter Robot. 25 years ago, I inherited 2 cats and an overflowing litter box. I have a background in engineering, so I was thinking of ways I could automate the litter box process. The result was Litter Robot, a fully automatic, self-cleaning litter box. You'll never scoop again, and your cat will always have a clean bed of litter. Join the Whisker family and try Litter Robot today.
She was just a sweet, giving person.
I was very scared that I was going to be next.
You can write the storyline. Next Dateline.
There is plenty of mutual acrimony and an impending divorce between Vince and Liz Marinello when she is shot to death by what appears to be a vagrant. A gun shop sales clerk informs detectives that he sells Vince Marinello the kind of bullets Liz is shot to death with.
And when police compare footage of the vagrant with footage of Vince, they have cause to wonder whether Vince killed his wife in disguise.
They obtain a warrant and conduct a search of his trailer.
When they went to the FEMA trailer, they found the list.
Vince Marinello writes 2 pages of what investigators refer to as a to-do list for himself.
Vince was a meticulous note-taker, being in the media for so long.
The list includes what to wear: mustache, black tennis shoes, gloves, and how to dispose of evidence. Bike, paint, clothes, burn, gun, river on the way to mama.
On the second page, there is a map of the parking lot where Liz Marinello is shot.
Vince Marinello had written down on the list, contact Harry Lee, who was the sheriff. Now, why would you want to contact Harry Lee? And it was very planned out, very methodical.
Detectives believe this to-do list is as good as a confession.
And then when they started investigating Marinello, they found out that he went to a costume shop and he wanted to buy a mustache. And they asked him, "Do you want a beard?" "No, I already have one."
Police believe this is enough evidence to arrest Vince Marinello for murder.
They thought it was a homeless man, but then they put 2 and 2 together when they thought, they found out all these places that he went. Finally, they believed they had a really strong, viable suspect in Vince Marinello.
On September 7th, 2006, 69-year-old Vince Marinello surrenders to authorities and is booked into the Jefferson Parish Jail in Gretna on second-degree murder charges. News of this very public figure's arrest makes a huge media splash. Astonished friends and fans reel as the details of the case become known.
And people were stunned because they thought, hey, this was just a guy that people kind of laughed at a little bit, just doing the sports. And then all of a sudden, wow, he's being arrested for murder. He was in jail on a suicide watch for a while because they had a bail hearing coming up. So he was trying to figure out who he was going to call to get the bail money.
but his friends are unwilling to put up their homes to make bail for Vince Marinello.
And Marinello was mad about that. He's very bitter about that. He said, you know, if my friend had committed it, I don't care who he was, if he was the Pope, I would have put up my house and things. But I think at that point, a lot of people were just not convinced that he was innocent.
As the case goes to trial, Marinello's attorneys request a change of venue due to the publicity surrounding the case.
There was no way Vince Marinello was going to get a fair trial in Jefferson Parish.
The request is granted.
So the incident took place in Jefferson Parish. However, the trial actually took place in Lafayette, Louisiana. Lafayette is in the heart of Cajun country. Vince had some attorneys who were helping him free of charge before then. But once Vince was indicted, that was really, the case was too big to handle for free. He had no money at the time. He simply had no money, like a lot of people find themselves at some stage in their lives. And he qualified for our services. The court appointed the public defender's office, and we took the case. This was one of the most media-intensive cases I have ever handled. The media was present at every court hearing, every status hearing. If we were walking to the courthouse to pick up an extra police report, there were 3 reporters out there. Media scrutiny was all over this case. It was on the news every night.
Defense say the crime can't be proved because the CCTV footage doesn't depict Vince's face. The prosecution vows that by the end of the trial, quote, there will be no doubt in your mind that he is the one who committed this crime. But it's anyone's guess how the trial will go.
They connected him to the weapon, but they couldn't find the weapon. But they found a lot of circumstantial things there that really brought the case full circle.
Without having the firearm to definitively say that those bullets came from that gun, and then to tie that firearm back to the individual, the suspect, is very difficult.
With circumstantial evidence, with no murder weapon, can the prosecution make the case against Vince Marinello stick?
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, ride your bike.
If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it.
If you're happy and you know it's not big and bright.
Thousands of kids just like me are happy every day.
And it's all because of generous people like you who support Shriners Hospitals for Children every month.
All you have to do is call the number on your screen or go online to loveshriners.org right now with your monthly gift.
Because of people like you, Shriners Hospitals for Children is able to make an everyday miracle happen for kids like me.
If you're happy and you know it, dance around. If you're happy and you know it, play a song.
If you're happy and you know it, and your face will surely show it.
If you're happy and you know it, take a shot.
And when you call or go online right now to donate $19 a month or more, we'll send you this adorable Love to the Rescue blanket as a thank you and a reminder of all the smiles you're bringing to kids' faces every day.
Will today be the day you send your love to the rescue?
When you call the number on your screen right now and give as little as $19 a month, just 63 cents a day, you'll be making a life-changing difference for a child, just like Sarah.
Your monthly gift today could change your life forever.
Because of you.
We are happy and we know it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please call or go online right now to give. If operators are busy, please wait patiently or go to loveshriners.org right away.
Everyone warned me about credit cards, but I found the Chime Credit Builder card and was able to build my credit with no annual fees or interest. My score went up over 60 points and I bought my first car. My next goal, a 700 credit score. Join me at Chime.com.
Before I found Poppy Lush, I would try on a million outfits to get ready. I love that these dresses have shapewear built in. It makes me feel so confident. Live lush. Poppy Lush. And so, babe, it's done.
I just sold my car to Carvana.
I just entered my license plate and
Answered a few questions. Bam!
I'm dropping it off and getting paid today.
How convenient is that?
Thanks for choosing Carvana.
Sell your car the easy way with Carvana.
Watch this. Witness what happens to this woman's bags under her eyes in an actual time lapse in just minutes. The problem will disappear before your eyes with a revolutionary topical formulation that works in just minutes, and the effects will last for hours. Over 1 million people are using this topical technique to visually reduce puffiness and bags, even fine lines and wrinkles on the face and forehead. Introducing Plexiderm. Jump on board and say yes to this amazing $14.95 Plexiderm trial. Order right now. We'll pay your shipping.
Hey, what's up? It's the People Star here, Damon John. Now, I'm going to give you a tip. This one is about how to create the wow factor in your home. And nearly every way that comes to my home comments about how amazing it smells. My family and I feel like we live in a luxurious hotel every day. I mean, think about it. It's been over 2 years, and still, the first thing anyone notices when they walk through the doors of our home is how amazing it smells.
Poshmark is the perfect side hustle. There's so much I can sell. Bags, clothes, and even electronics. It's so easy. I can list in 60 seconds or less. I can't imagine a better side hustle.
There's an easier way to bank and get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less when you download Dave.
Looking for affordable and stylish kids shoes? Go to fabkids.com. These shoes have it all: ombre rainbow soles and glitter that does not rub off. Look how fun these are. They light up. I'm obsessed with the heart-shaped leopard print design. I wish I had these for myself. No fuss laces because there's an easy zipper on the inside. The quality for the price is amazing. Get shoes from just $5 plus free shipping on orders over $10 only at fabkids.com.
Vince Marinello goes to trial for the brutal shooting murder of his wife, Liz Marinello. There are similarities between Vince's physicality and that of the footage of the killer vagrant, and what appears to be a murder, quote, to-do list found in Vince's trailer. But defense argues that all of the prosecution's evidence is purely circumstantial, and Vince is an innocent man.
They didn't have the weapon, so they couldn't really match him to the weapon. Like I said, there was a lot of circumstantial evidence that put him at the scene of the crime.
Defense argues that it cannot be determined when the so-called checklist is written. There are alternate ways to interpret it that may not necessarily refer to murder.
He knew he was a suspect as a spouse of the person that was killed, and he had plans to go meet with the sheriff, and he created a list for things that he wanted to talk to the sheriff about. Some of the things on the list to talk to Sheriff Lee about coincided with the murder of Liz Marinello. Some had nothing to do with the case whatsoever. And the prosecutors pointed to the jury at the things that related to the murder of Elizabeth. We pointed to the things that had nothing to do with the murder whatsoever.
Vince's lawyer questions whether Vince actually purchases a disguise to dress as the vagrant, since Vince wore hairpieces regularly and was known to frequent hair shops. It is a strong defense, but the tide begins to turn against Vince Marinello.
The district attorney played the two surveillance tapes side by side to try to show that that was the same person.
A former handyman of Marinello's takes the stand, who has a conversation with Vince one day at the Marinello's home before the murder.
Marinello asks, "Can I put a silencer on a 38? And he thought that kind of strange when he asked him that.
The handyman testifies that Vince shows him a revolver which matches the murder weapon.
The white car found at the FEMA trailer is a ringer for the one spotted near the crime scene.
He was seen putting the bicycle in his trunk by a teacher at a school that was down the street.
Testimony from the counselor reports that Vince knows of his estranged wife's standing appointment at the office building between 3 and 3:50 p.m. on Thursdays. Knowing the time Liz is to exit the building can explain why the perpetrator locates to the area near to where Liz is shot with perfect timing.
Vince was very well respected and well liked, and he really was. Vince had a lot of friends, knew everybody all over town.
But his comrades start to jump ship. Vince's alibi is blown when his friends of over 25 years admit that Vince, in fact, arrives later to their home than they initially report on the evening of the murder.
The alibi was falling apart.
When Vince is informed of Liz's shooting, he admits that he makes no attempts to contact the hospital or check on Liz Marinello's daughter, his stepchild. But Vince's cell phone records become key.
It was quite devastating to us, to be honest. This was the first case in Jefferson Parish in which cell phone records were used in a criminal case. They are routinely used in every serious case now, but this was the first one back in 2008. They were able to ping off the towers, and the prosecution tried to show that through Vince's cell phone records that his timeline and his statement to the police did not add up to where the cell phone records suggested he probably was at that time.
What I think really clinched it for the jury, and what prosecuting attorneys always hope for, is that the defendant will testify.
Vince takes the stand.
And when he got up there, it was very arrogant. It was very nonchalant, not a lot of emotion. But I think he wanted the attention, no matter if it was negative or positive here. He was bragging about his hotel room, how he had a microwave, he had access to a jacuzzi. You're on trial for your life here, and you're bragging about this. You know, I'm not going to say it was public opinion. I think the evidence strongly pointed to him being the murderer.
It turns out the physical fight between Liz and Vince that he reports to police actually happens because Vince has pinned Liz's daughter to the wall, and Liz has to fight him to get him off.
Assistant district attorneys later described Marinello as a narcissistic, egotistical, self-centered person. The jury did not deliberate for long before they came back with a verdict.
On December 13th, 2008, after a 2-week trial, the jury makes their judgment.
Vince was ultimately convicted as charged, convicted of second-degree murder, which in Louisiana is a mandatory life sentence. It was a sentence to life without parole.
The jury needs only 90 minutes of deliberation.
Back then, a typical jury in Louisiana would take about 2 hours to reach a verdict.
But some believe the sentence does not reflect the crime.
He knew exactly what he wanted to do. He had a map, bought the bullets, bought the disguise. And to me, that was premeditated, but he got second-degree murder. People got to see who he really was. The family really chastised him at the sentencing hearing. He didn't show any remorse whatsoever at all.
I would say the cell phone records were the most detrimental to him. I do not think they pinpointed to his guilt, but they certainly did undermine his credibility with the jury.
And in this particular case, the evidence being those nylon-coated bullets not only were sold by a specific gun store, but they were in the victim, lend to the fact that the case is unique in that. And it aided in the investigation, I'm sure, for the detectives.
I think he thought that his connections with the police department were going to get him out of this trouble. I believe his motive, and a few other people that I've spoken to, including some of Liz's friends, were that when Liz discovered that he was a bigamist, he didn't want his reputation ruined. And he figured if he got rid of her and they could not find out who did it, then his reputation would stay intact. All this information that Liz had probably would have denigrated his career.
The prosecutors really tried to stress that Vince was concerned that Liz was going to paint him as a bigamist. Vince believed he was divorced at the time he married Liz.
I don't want to see Liz forgotten either, such a sweet person, and to have her life taken away from her like that because Vince Marinello wanted her as a possession. She was a very angelic individual. I think it was his relentless pursuit of her that finally it was by attrition that she went out with him and eventually married him. I think this is one of the very few cases in New Orleans criminal history that the truth was actually, it came out. There was no spin to it or anything like that.
Vince Marinello subsequently appeals his conviction, and it is upheld by the Louisiana Third Circuit Court of Appeals, but the Louisiana Supreme Court declines to hear his appeal.
Dateline.
Yeah, so that's it for this video. Okay.